Windows down, scattered clouds, smell of spring outside. Open road, new city close. Let's go somewhere far away. 'Cause if all I have is you, then I'll be just fine. Yeah, I'll be just fine. Heading for the western shore, while the sun is slowly fades. Days are full, and I'll spend them with you. So let's go somewhere far away. 'Cause if all I have is you, then I'll be just fine.
Boy, it is warm. It's a warm day. So in today's video, we have to get out to the garden and we've got to weed whack it and get it all cleaned up because that grass out there has just been growing wild. It's been a couple of weeks since we've done it, and that's about how often I have to do it, about every week and a half to 2 weeks. But it has really gotten pretty big out there now, so we're going to be doing that today. But while I'm out there, I also want to give you guys a update on our garden and how it's doing. Not only the actual garden itself, but also what we're growing in the greenhouse. Now, unfortunately, with it being warm, I wish I was wearing shorts, but since I'm weed whacking, I'm wearing pants, and that just makes it that much more warmer out. So, all right, well, with that said, let's go weed whack some grass. And there we have it. The garden has been all weed whacked. In fact, there's I'm gonna have to pick that up. That's a piece of my string that came out. But it is all cleaned up. Looks really nice. There's really a lot of grass in here. The funny thing is I had actually added gravel here, and we had planned on this whole section here being like a gravel trail that would come all the way through here and then go out the other gate over there. But as fate would have it, Mother Earth had other plans. So she's given us a ton of grass. And rather than fighting it, I think what we may end up doing is just let it go and actually plant some grass in the bare spots, and that way it'll just be grass in here, which will help keep the ground cool, and we'll just mow it. You know, I mean, why not, right? Overall, it takes me about an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes to do the garden. Some of that's actually just moving crap around because we haven't gotten around to putting some stuff up, but yeah, it looks really good. I'm really happy with it. So if you are just joining us, we do appreciate you folks tuning into our channel. Jen and I left Chicago in 2021. We raised our family. We had great careers. We retired and we moved out here to Maine. We purchased just under 60 acres of woods here, and we've been carving out our own off-grid homestead ever since. Now, about a month ago, I did a video on our garden, just giving you guys an update. And now with it being almost mid-August, I wanted to do another update, kind of do a walkthrough, show you guys what's happening. If you haven't seen that other video, I will leave it in the description below. We actually started on the other side of the garden in that video. We're going to start on this side of the garden, and we'll just kind of walk through. All right, so on this side of the garden, we have our future asparagus bed. We've got that bed all ready to go. I'll show you the asparagus in just a moment. We're going to actually transplant this in the fall once the asparagus goes dormant. All right, so this is our horseradish, and we transplanted this year. Actually, it was late spring, early summer that we got it. It's all survived the summer. That gray that you see, and you're going to see it on a lot of our plants, that's DE that Jen has been putting on to help prevent the bugs from eating all of our veggies. Both of these beds we built this year, and we do love the beds. You'll see more of those here just momentarily. All right, moving on in front of the greenhouse, we have our chive bed. Now, I expect this bed at some point will be completely filled, which will be awesome because chives go in everything. Moving on down, we've got our mint. It is doing fantastic. We transplanted it from the greenhouse, I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago maybe. And it looks like it's just doing really well. All right, so now in this box here, we have our winter squash, and it is just booming with veggies. Got one there. Got them down here. We really enjoy winter squash, and we also enjoy giving it to our chickens. So a lot of this winter squash will actually go to the chickens. We did lose a plant in here, I think, unfortunately, but that happens. But yeah, we'll be giving some of this, well, a lot of this winter squash to the chickens. So there it is. All right, so now over here we have our cucumbers. We have already harvested a ton of cucumbers. Really nice, big, delicious cucumbers. There's one right there. Matter of fact, for lunch today, Jen cut up a cucumber for us, and we love eating them with lunch, with dinner. I mean, you know, we can come out here, grab a cucumber, cut it up and eat it. It's awesome. So again, we have our winter squash, we have our cucumbers. If we move over here, this is our yellow squash. Now that is another vegetable that we have gotten a ton of. We've also lost one of these as well. Unfortunately, it broke. And yeah, we put these fences up this year because last year they're doing what they did here. They fall over, they get onto the ground, there's a lot of weight on them, and they snap and break. The hope was to be able to use this to keep them up, to prevent them from falling over. Now obviously that didn't work. We have to do a better job of getting these things tied up early. Jen found some clips that we're going to look into that will allow us to easily clip them to the branch or to the fencing here, so as not to damage the plant itself. But you guys will have to wait till next season for that. But overall, we've done really well with our yellow squash. It is looking a little rough around the edges right now, and that's primarily because Jen has been keeping it trimmed, but we are getting a lot of squash out of these plants. All right, so now in our last bed we have our zucchini, and this is what she has been picking from for our chips. She also makes an incredible zucchini brownie. We have a friend of ours whose birthday it was. It is tomorrow. So Jen came out here and harvested some zucchini, and she baked a couple of cakes, one for him, and then another friend of ours lost his dog. And so to help cheer him up, we made him, well, Jen made him a zucchini brownie. So yeah, we love our zucchinis. All right, so now this is the asparagus. This is the second year. We did not harvest any of this year. We do plan on harvesting it next year. It's done really well. And I think once we get it transplanted over into the new bed, I think it's gonna do fantastic over there. Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of new shoots that have come up just in the last few weeks. Get some of these weeds out of here. We're really looking forward to being able to put these into their beds. All right, so we've covered our cucumbers, our winter squash, our zucchini, and our yellow squash. Next to that are our bell peppers. And these are just booming. We have a ton of peppers. One of the things that Jen had done this year differently than she had in the past was when the plants got about 10 inches, she cut the tops off, made the plants bush out a little bit. And as you can see, I mean, these are the biggest peppers I think we've ever had. We've been able to grow here. And there is a ton of them. So she has some work ahead of her to get in here and do some harvesting. But they look great. You know, what's always amazed me about pepper plants is that the plant themselves, they don't get very big, yet the amount of vegetable that they produce it's pretty remarkable. All right, so now we are at our pickling cucumbers, and we've got quite a few of these already. They're still coming, but you know, we have never really been very successful growing these cucumbers here. I don't know what it's been. Oh, and this right here, the ones that are in the middle, this is all kohlrabi. I think we have 3 or 4 in there. We've just not been very successful. The plants don't get very big. We do get a nice yield out of them, but nothing like I would expect. We're hoping that by revitalizing this dirt next season, getting some new nutrients into it and some fresh dirt, that next season will be a little bit better. The plants will be a little bit healthier. And again, that's not to say that they're not healthy now. They just seem stunted. All right, so now we get into the tomato area. Now we have a ton of tomatoes because Jen does a ton of canning with them. This year, the type of tomatoes we have are a little bit different than last year. And as you can see, we have a lot of them. The unfortunate part about having tomatoes like this is that the weight is pulling our plants down. Now, we've seen a ton of videos online on how to prevent this, how to help control it. Because like right there, that one we lost. It broke off just simply because of the weight. And so I think what we're going to be doing is next year we'll be tying up trellises and then using trellises on our tomato plants. We move on over here to this bed and kind of still, you can see, I mean, these things are heavy. There's a lot of weight on them. They just want to fall over. They're nowhere near as big as a plant as they were last season, but they are certainly doing real well. We got a lot of little cherry tomatoes going on, which I love. And we've got our individual plants over here. Some more cherry tomatoes. Now we planted these two. they're kind of stunted, but they look like they're gonna produce. You know, there's a little tomato on there, so it's doing its thing. Same thing with these. They're a little stunted, much smaller than the other plants, but they are producing, which is awesome. And it looks like we've got a little bee here. That's what we like to see. We really enjoy our bumblebees. Hello, Rex. Hello, Betty. So yeah, we really do enjoy our bumblebees. All of the good bees. We don't like wasps. I don't know anybody who does. But yep, overall, this area of the garden has just done really wonderful overall. This is Jen's little herb experiment. It did okay. I mean, nothing special, you know. I mean, she wanted to try it, and we did. I think we're going to do it again, but I wouldn't go this tall, because when you get down to the bottom, the weight from the top has crushed the bottom ones. And so I think what we're going to end up doing is maybe doing little sections, maybe 4 or 5 high, and we'll try that next season. All right, so now that we've talked about the tomatoes, the yellow squash, the asparagus, the bell peppers, the cucumbers, the winter squash. Oh my goodness. The chickens have oh my gosh, the chickens caught a frog. Looks like Betty has it right now. Oh, she just went in the coop. All right, well, I can hear Betty in the coop. She is a frog, and the other girls are just standing. Oh, I think they're chasing her. That's crazy. It's kind of cool that the chickens will find and, you know, dispatch and eat a frog. It gives me hope that if we do get mice in the coop, that they'll do the same. We're going to sit here for a moment, see if Betty comes back out with it. I can't see her, but I know she's in there somewhere. That is so funny. All right, so while the birds chase each other and try to eat that frog, we're going to go ahead and move on to the larger beds here. So this first bed has nothing in it in this area here. Oh, by the way, that is Henry. He is the defender of our garden. Our son named him. So we have our cabbage. The cabbage actually got hit pretty hard with some black beetles. We think we're going to be able to salvage some, but we'll see. Only time will tell. Over here, we have our mediocre carrot. The carrots took a beating this season. We did really well with carrots last season, but this season not so much. Same thing with the beets. We're hoping that with some new soil that we can do better next season. See if we can't get and see our beets. They're looking really good, the few that we have. So that's pretty cool. Betty's out with the frog. There she is. All the girls know that she has it. That is so funny. We've seen the girls get frogs before, and this is kind of what they do. Once they know one has it, they just start chasing each other around. It's pretty funny. And it's great protein for them. So, oh, looks like Hazel got it. Hazel's working on it. Here comes Babs. And there goes Hazel. All right, well, we're going to let the girls do their thing. We're going to move on to this third box here, which is doing very well. So in this box we have kohlrabi, which are these guys, and then we also have onions. And everything is doing very well. Now the kohlrabi also got hit with those black beetles that hit our cabbage. And you can tell, I mean, you can see all the holes. We are doing our best to prevent those beetles, and it actually kind of looks like we may have won for now. I don't see any in here, but the kohlrabi is doing really, really well. Onions, they always do very well here. We have onions on this side. They are looking delicious. So a friend of ours just came down to say hi. So now that he is gone, we're going to continue with our onions. They are looking fantastic. My gosh. We've always done very well with onions here. I guess they just do like the soil here. Which then, from there, comes into this monstrosity. Now these are raspberry bushes. There's 3 of them here. We've only gotten a couple of raspberries off of them. This is their 3rd year, I believe. Maybe, no, their 2nd year. They're growing great. But the problem is they're growing too good with the area that they're in. The other problem I have with them is that they have the little thorns on them. And holy smokes, the whole damn bush is filled with them. I mean, it makes it nearly impossible to walk around these things, to get in here. I mean, it's just, they hurt. But we do have, you can see, you know, we've gotten a couple raspberries off of them, but it's just too much. So these guys are going bye-bye. Now, originally, we were going to move the raspberry bushes over to the new garden that we built. But we found massive patches of raspberries here, not only on our property, but also down the road. So we really don't need to grow raspberries on our homestead, because the wild raspberries, there's just so many of them around. So what we're going to end up doing is I'm going to find a nice spot somewhere on the property for these guys to grow and thrive and do their thing. But we're not going to probably ever pick raspberries off of this. It's just, they're too much for us with the thorns and everything. So yeah, we're going to do that in the fall before the ground freezes. We'll figure out where to put them, and then we'll definitely let you folks know. Now, moving on, our grapes are doing unbelievable. These are the grapevines that we have. Right now we have 2 of them. What I think we're going to end up doing is, once we get rid of the raspberries, we're going to put a grapevine there. And then we may actually put one here as well and give us 4 grapevines. Yeah, hopefully next season we'll get grapes. Now we did get a couple of small, it looked like they were going to start, but then they died off, and I'm not quite sure why. Maybe it's just because it was their 2nd year or what. But at any rate, I think hopefully next year, you know, the plan is to have the entire fence here filled with grapevine. I just think it would be awesome. So, but that also means we're going to have to build trellises between the fence posts here so that it allows the grapevines to grow up. But that's going to look good. It's going to be awesome. But that's next year's project. Now, I grew up in the state of Illinois, as did Jennifer. And in Illinois, we grow corn, and we grow a ton of it. And as such, you grow up being around cornfields, and, you know, at least for me, I really, really, really love a good corn patch. Unfortunately, we didn't have the corn patch we wanted, at least that I wanted, but we do have a corn patch. Some of the problems we had this year was that we planted, I think, 170, 180 of them, and we only got about 70 or 80 that actually came through and grew. The other problem was that we had a pretty nasty storm, a microburst come in, and these guys were all pretty young at the time, and a lot of them bent over, and we lost quite a few of them. And then the third problem is they're stunted. At least some of them. Like those two are stunted. We got one in here stunted as well. But they are still growing. We do have some cobs starting, which are great. One piece of advice I will give anybody who is growing their own corn. There is such a thing as corn cob worms. I can tell you from experience that when you have a beautiful piece of corn like this and you go to open it up, there's nothing worse than seeing a portion of it completely rotted or eaten out and having a worm in it. It just sucks. So Jen found a real simple, easy way to prevent the corn worms from getting into your cobs. So when the corn first starts to grow its silk, you'll want to add a couple drops of vegetable oil on the silk when it first starts to grow. So what it'll do is prevent the egg that gets dropped here by a moth from being able to get inside of the corn and eating the inside of your corn. So by doing that, it just, there'll be no worm. Now on a patch like ours, when we have quite a few adults, and then we also have some plants that have not matured yet, Jen will have to come out here several different times, and she'll watch for the silk. And as soon as she starts to see it, she'll put that oil on it, and that will completely eliminate those worms. All right, so now if you move over here to our bean trellis, these are our pole beans. Now, I'm not sure if we have any. Oh, look at that. There is a lot of them. Jen was out here earlier today picking green beans for dinner and for the dogs. They absolutely go bonkers over green beans. Underneath the green beans, we have our celery. Now, there was a concern as to whether or not the celery would get enough sun once the green beans start to grow on this trellis. But so far, it's been okay. I think we're just going to have to keep an eye on it. And hopefully they do get enough sun that they can mature. So we'll see. We'll definitely let you folks know in our next update. All right, so now moving on. This is our Ruth Stout potato bed. We do have potatoes growing right there. We actually got quite a few of them. They're not really growing big. Last year we did get some potatoes. The year before, though, was an absolute failure. Not a single potato came out of this patch. Now what we are going to do is we're going to convert this to raised beds next year. And that way we'll be able to plant and grow our potatoes in dirt, because though the Ruth Stout method has, proven to be effective, we just can't seem to get it to work here. Now, I don't know if it's the type of straw we use or if it's the how we're doing it. I don't know. All I do know is after 2 years, we have not been able to do very well with potatoes. In that this is the third year. They look better this year. We're really, really hoping that we get a good yield, but only time will tell. All right, so now let's go into the greenhouse and see what's going on in here. So up here in this line, we've got a bunch of different herbs that Jen knows. I think we also have a lemon tree growing in here. I'm not exactly sure which one that is. We've got all of our parsley. This here, which is really good. This is a lemon, I think a lemon basil. We got some basil growing right there. Over here, we've got some tomato plants. We got a lot of tomato plants. Now, these are heirlooms that a friend of ours gave us, and these things are growing tall. Holy smokes. They are tall and heavy. Matter of fact, that one is leaning over. We'll have to fix that. These guys here we planted much later in the season. We're going to try to get these to grow into late fall. but we'll see. Same thing with these little guys here. And then over here we have our hot peppers, which are starting to grow. We're getting a little bit of peppers going on here, which is awesome. We also have tomatoes coming in here. So the greenhouse definitely works, but it also gets very hot. I mean, we're almost at 100 degrees right now, and that's not always good. The humidity could be a little bit better in here, but given that it's our first year with the greenhouse, I think we're doing pretty good. There's a big learning curve with the greenhouse, and it's something that Jen and I are working on. Every plant that we grow in here, every plant that dies, every plant that does well, is just learning for us. It is just an opportunity for us to figure out how to do this and how to do it effectively. This is a long-term plan for us, so our success and failure this year and even next year really doesn't matter in terms of produce. It's more about what we can learn and how can we get better at it. And now having the stove in here is awesome because it is going to allow us to heat this in the wintertime. So that's going to be awesome. And we do have the 12-volt fan, which is running. That is awesome. Solar is working in the greenhouse. I still need to add some lights in here because come wintertime, I mean, it's dark at like 3:30 in the afternoon. So if we want to do any work out here, we got to have some lights. So I got to get that installed. But I mean, overall, this is just awesome. Our garden has come a long way since we arrived in 2021. We started growing in bins, and we have expanded the garden to raised beds. We are experimenting with different types of vegetables. And more importantly, we now have a working greenhouse. The whole purpose of Jen and I moving to Maine and living this lifestyle is so that we could become much more self-sufficient, closer to nature, and all of the above. This has really been a journey, not a destination, and this is part of it. The evolution of this garden has just been mind-blowing for Jen and I. I mean, we look at it and we still can't believe we did it all, that we built this. You know, two city slickers who were born and raised in the city come out here to a beautiful state of Maine, out in the woods, and they create this. Like, how awesome is that, right? All right, folks, well, that'll do it for this video. We will do another update here probably in about 3 weeks. That's when we'll really start to harvest and get the harvesting on the peppers and the tomatoes. Jen's got a ton of canning to do this year. So, yeah, stay tuned. We'll keep you folks posted. And as always, if you like the video, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. We'll see you folks on the next video.